with me here. Bear with me. Okay. Looks like sound is now working. I can actually test that myself. There we go. Okay. So if you're tuning in, go ahead and say hi in the chats. You can help me test things out. Make sure you can see me, hear me, and we're ready to go. I always appreciate participation that way. If you have questions, feel free to put those in the chat as well, and I might get to them in a little bit. So, the topic for today is circular breathing. It's pretty much always circular breathing. You know, sounds are great, rhythms are great, all of that's great, but if you really kind of take a sample of all the folks out there who are working on learning didgeridoo, it's about circular breathing. That's the biggest stumbling block. That's the biggest fascination. That's the biggest area of confusion and frustration. So every time I work with the students to help them deal with circular breathing, new tips emerge, new approaches, new tactics, and I'd like to share those. So this video is for you if you are struggling to circular breathe. I've got a list in the description of important questions. They're in no particular order. I will address them a little bit randomly. And I think what I'll start with, I don't even think I wrote this one down. I want to start with the mental auditory expectation you have of yourself when you're just starting out with circular breathing, okay? When you think about circular breathing, what are you expecting to hear? Is this what you're expecting to hear? Let's make sure this works right. I gotta check my audio here. Okay, maybe a little loud. If you're out there, give me feedback. Is it too loud or not? And I'm also trying to see where my live chat is here, because I know you're out there and I can't see any chat happening yet. Interesting. Let's see. What if we do this? All right. Testing. Okay. When you are imagining getting circular breathing, is this what you expect of yourself? That was one breath. Is that what you're expecting? Because I asked this question because if you're expecting circular breathing that is that smooth, I think you're setting yourself up for disappointment and frustration. I would put that kind of smooth sound while breathing higher, at a higher level than most people anticipate. I think because it is such a simple sound, a single simple sound, I think because of that fact, new players expect a single simple sound when they circular breathe. You know, they expect something relatively clear and clean. I'm still trying to make sure that I am seeing your chats. I'm not seeing any chats right now, so that is interesting. Let's see here. I think I just lost my chat window. Oh, there it is. There we go. I'm just gonna type there's anyone out there and hope someone responds. Okay, if you're expecting that kind of smooth, unbroken, clean sound while circular breathing, you're setting yourself up for frustration. Because here's the thing. When you... Hey! So good seeing you too. Thanks for the comments. Let me know how things sound. There are multiple points in the circular breathing cycle when the sound is quite likely to change. So you start the drone, and then you get ready by filling your cheeks with some air, creating pressure. That's bound to create a variation in the sound. So there you go. You've barely even begun to circular breathe, and the sound has already changed a bit. Then you do the next step, which is one of the hard steps. You squeeze and you inhale. And you get this wah type sound. Unless you do it perfectly, you're going to get another variation in sound. Variation 2. So you've got drone, fill your cheeks, or pressurize your mouth, squeeze. 3 sounds. Getting that to be smooth and seamless is, I'd say, a more higher intermediate or advanced skill. And then, after you've squeezed, you bring your lungs back into the equation. You go from inhaling with your core muscles, diaphragm, inhaling to fill your lungs, to reversing the direction and squeezing back to exhaling through the lungs. So, 4 different sounds, 4 different kind of, you could say, phases. Things are bound to sound less than smooth. So what I try to get students to understand is, in the beginning, you're going for a varied, non-smooth drone sound while circular breathing. And I see a question. Hello from Mexico. Thanks for the comment. And I'm just going to read it the way I see it. So Ty, thanks for being here, and Jack. So don't expect smoothness. Don't expect an unbroken sound. Expect variation in the sound. So from there, where I usually try to take students is in one of a few different directions. Either an approach that is all about prepare the mouth, squeeze, breathe. Prepare the mouth, breathe, squeeze. Some variation there. Or I go back to the rhythm I first learned, which was a 4-part rhythm. Do, do, 2 tongue touches. Do, do, prepare, squeeze. Do, 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 do. Something like that. Again, these 2 approaches are not an unbroken, smooth, meditative, gentle drone. They have a lot of variation to them. So shift your expectation. That's one of the major tips I share with students. But let's now back up a little bit. Because I can show that to someone, and even if they're starting to get it, often what happens is this. Watch my nose, listen for the breath sound. Really intense inhale. The focus is on the nose. Maybe the nose wrinkles. Maybe due to the intensity of the inhale, there's some friction inside the nose and it pulls the nostrils in. The chest is lifting. The shoulders are lifting. We got to fix all that. And before someone even begins to blow the drone, there's also often an issue. So let's start there. Breathing. The natural impulse of the brain and body working together while starting to play is to take a full inhale and then start. But, if you try that yourself right now, full inhale, there's a lot of tension in your torso. And then you go to play this, it's not the most gentle sound, but it's also not the fiercest, most athletic feeling. You're holding back all this pressure while you're making this really lovely balanced sound. We don't need that much air. Now, I think there's a reason students take that much air in. It's because in the beginning, it's frustrating having to break up the drone in order to breathe. So in order to get the most sound per breath, then it makes sense to take a big inhale. I hear people making rhythms on single breath of air, take a breath to refill, continue playing. That makes sense in the beginning because you're not playing an unbroken drone. You have to take a breath. It stops the drone. Might as well get a maximized drone. But when you're working towards circular breathing, we actually need to change our approach. You want to take a full breath in, let that happen, sure. Then relax to about halfway, neutral. I don't want to feel like there's tension in either direction. I want to be able to exhale from neutral, or I want to be able to inhale. Neutral. So when you're sitting with a didge and you're about to play, let your body do the first natural impulse. Fill up and then relax. And now play. Okay. Play from neutral. When you play from neutral, you want to feel your core muscles contracting and working on the exhale. So if you're practicing this off didge, you want to get to that neutral place. Have slightly open lips. Feel the contraction of your core. Really feel it like you're tightening your abs. And then relax your abs to breathe in the nose. The feeling I have is that my lower core muscles, as they relax and the diaphragm contracts, all those muscles pull air from below. They pull air from below. And then my nose, my sinuses, they don't have to do anything. Testing. Okay. Am I back? Sorry about that. I see that. Okay, got it. Hey, I appreciate the comments when the sound goes off. Let me know how it is now. It's possible that I've got the didge up too loud. Test, test. Okay. If someone wants to let me know where it cut off, that would be great. So we're talking about breathing. We don't want focus here. We don't want tension here. And we don't want to be breathing up here. Thanks, everyone. We want the focus for breathing to be here. And that's counterintuitive because when you're circular breathing, you've got the cheeks filling, you've got the lips buzzing, you've got the tongue moving, and your nose is right here. And so mentally, all the focus is up here. But the breathing engine is here. Here. Joey, you're welcome. Also, hello, Nessa. Hello, I think it's Junity or Junti, Vision. I'll use the word vision. The way it's set up here, some of the writing is really small. I don't know why the font is so small. The focus for breathing, the mechanism, the engine is here. But most people, when they're starting out, they put it up here. So we want to be able to take that inhale, preferably without the shoulders hiking up, then relax to neutral, and then contract. That's the drone, and then relax to inhale, drone, inhale. So if I go back to drone, prepare the mouth, and then contract and inhale. Hopefully, the goal here is for very little sound and tension and effort to happen up in the face and in the nose and in the shoulders. Okay, so that's the goal there. Work from below. I think the more you work on your breathing off dig, the more it will support you with circular breathing. If your breathing isn't automatic, it makes the rest of this really difficult. And when I think about when I started and it clicked quite quickly, I had already played a few years of clarinet back in early school. So I already had great breath support without having to worry about circular breathing. And then I was also athletic. I played soccer. And so, I think when it comes to strength and endurance, it was pretty high for me. So if that's not the case for you, you need to work on your breathing. So here's a little breathing exercise. If you've done yoga or breath work, pranayama, you've probably heard of something like breath of fire. You sit there using your core to forcefully exhale through the nose, and then you relax to inhale. Greetings. Oh gosh, how do I read that? The Kuchenbull. Maybe. Hello in Germany. You use your core muscles to forcefully exhale and relax to inhale. Something like that. You can do a dig version of that. Mouth is slightly open. You exhale from the mouth using your core muscles, and then inhale through the nose with your mouth still open as you relax. So we're strengthening the core support, and we're allowing a gentle inhale through the nose when we relax the core. I hope that makes sense. I'm here if you have questions. So you could practice that, do something like 60 counts of that a day. So a count would be, that was 2. That was 4. So 4 breaths. Work your way up to 60. Going something like, that was 16. So up to 60. If you start to feel lightheaded, back right off of that one. Okay, so there's some breath support. Where do we want to go from here? The lip buzz. The lip buzz. When early, like beginning players are starting to learn the drone, or starting to learn circular breathing, often their drone needs some work. And I can see right away with a student if there's an issue there. Love it, Jack. DMT, yes. Visions like DMT. What was I saying? The drone. So often a student will come to me and their drone sounds like this. Versus big difference. Now, I don't want to say it's impossible to learn circular breathing with that first example. It's not impossible, but it's definitely not easy, and I don't think it'll be very satisfying. So we almost have to go to the drone, back up to the drone, if that's the case for someone, because without a clean, clear drone that's at least, I don't know, 80% there, then circular breathing just is going to be that much more difficult. If you think about it, the buzz of the lips acts as a pressure valve so that when you're trying to squeeze air from your face while you're inhaling, to get that to be clear enough and slow enough so that the drone continues and you don't just lose all your pressure in one quick squeeze so the sound cuts. You need a balanced buzz. Now really the drone, that's almost a whole other video, but quickly, it's the right balance of lip tension and air pressure. If your lip tension is good, but your air pressure is too high, you get this airy thing. Or you often get that where someone's trying to find the balance and the lips go too soft and then too tight. I tell most people to back off to something like 50% air pressure and to start with their lips more open, slightly duck face into the mouthpiece, and to slowly close their lips over the airstream until you catch the vibration, and then to slightly increase the pressure there while keeping the air pressure consistent or increasing it slightly until it sort of clarifies. So you might go from other little tips, pulling in the corners of the mouth here, a little bit of a flat chin here. And again, we don't want 100% air pressure from the lungs. We want 50-ish. And I have to give credit to Jeremy Cloak for offering me that tip. I think I was playing at 100 and he got me to back way off to 50-60%. Okay, so the drone has to be dialed in, but that's not the whole picture. Can you lip buzz the pitch of the drone off the didge? So that's my tone. This is not that. A lot of beginners do this and then they play. That's not it. We want to work on being able to buzz our lips at the right pitch. That's it. Let's see. Mona Lisa, smile forever. Yes. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. And now one way you know you've got it is if you can buzz your lips off didge, slowly bring your lips to the didge. And it's a seamless transition. Why is that important? If you can't hear that this is not the drone, then how do you tweak your lip buzz off didge to get to the right level of pressure, the right balance of air and lip tension. And if you can't do that, then circular breathing is harder to do without a proper pressure valve or air valve. So there needs to be some practice hearing the pitch of the lips and also learning to control the lips. So one common exercise is to go from very floppy all the way up and then back down. And can you hear that pitch go up and back down? That's important. So we want a lip buzz off dig that matches the pitch. Really important. That's going to help so much. If you're working on circular breathing, but you've skipped the clear drone, I say go back to the drone. And sometimes it's helpful to have someone outside of you listen, or record yourself and listen back yourself to see if the drone sound is as clear as you can get it. We don't want any airiness. So again, an airy drone. Airy drone sounds like that. Non-airy drone sounds like that. For those of you just joining, this is a great chance to ask questions if you have any questions at all related to circular breathing. All right. Where are we going next? Okay. Let's say you're a student wanting to learn circular breathing. You come to me for lessons. One of the first things I'll ask you, thanks for watching. One of the first things I ask is if they can explain the process. Because usually I find that the gaps in a person's explanation match their gaps in their technique. So they might say something like this. Using lung breath, blow a drone. Using the cheeks, squeeze the air so the drone keeps going and take an inhale. And then blow the drone again. And they might sound like that. Let's say they're getting a sound while they're inhaling, but there's a gap. So there's a gap in their understanding. While blowing the drone using core muscles and air from the lungs, allow pressure to build in your mouth and begin to squeeze a microsecond before you inhale. It is possible to go from lungs to squeeze inhale, almost seemingly without overlap. But if you really think about it, if you're blowing and then you inhale, the sound stops. And so if you aren't creating some squeeze already, then there's going to be a gap. So there needs to be an overlap between lungs, squeeze, and then inhale. Like if you zoom in to what's happening, you get this like microscopic view of the transition. It's got to be lungs, then pressure starts, and then inhale. Then inhale. Then, before you've finished your squeeze, before that air runs out, before the sound stops, you reverse the direction and begin blowing from the lungs again, and then you're back to the beginning. So there are these two little overlaps. It's not like this. It's like that. There's overlap. So, blowing the drone, preparing the pressure, beginning the squeeze, then inhale. There's still some squeeze, reverse again to exhale, etc. So understanding the overlap's really important. I just saw in the comments Jack saying the key was to learn how to close my throat. Yes. That takes me to another kind of area that I usually question students. Do you know some of the anatomy of the mouth? And can you feel it working? So I used to use the wrong terminology. I used to say close the throat. And, you know, technically it's fine. But really, what we're talking about is the back of the tongue closing where the uvula is hanging down and the soft palate. Those close back there. And in speech, when we make the NG sound, like the end of the word song, it's interesting, actually, if you think about how that works. That closure creates a seal between your airway and your mouth. It closes things off. And when you make the sound song, your voice and the air used to create your voice, it actually goes up into your nasal passage. That is a nasal sound. Which is great, because that means when we close that area of the back of the mouth, we seal off the mouth and we open up the nasal passage so that air can freely pass in and out the nose. So that means we have to learn how to feel what's going on back there. So the basic exercise, I've been sharing this for ages. I call it fogging the window. Gently open mouth. Imagine a window is in front of you. Like an H-A, H-U. And then, mouth still open, inhale through the nose. You can see it working back there. I can hear it working back there. Folks who have obstructive sleep apnea often can't feel what's going on back there. We need to build some sensation. We need to be able to open and close that area at will. So we can actually go back to that sort of Didge breath of fire approach and really bring our attention to the back of the tongue and the soft palate. Do you know what the palate is? You've got the hard palate and the front. It's hard, and then as you go further back, it's softer. We need to build sensation and control. That'd be another way to practice it. Using your voice isn't as accurate a way, but if it helps you feel, that's great. We want that to be strong. That movement back there is the pump that moves air pressure forward out the lip buzz while you're inhaling. It has to be strong enough to shoot air forward. If I move from open mouth to F, then that movement back there creates a sound. It's like a plunger in a syringe. It pushes air out. You don't even need the cheeks in that case. If you're moving the cheeks but not closing back there, when you go to breathe in, everything collapses. So that's the key, and then the cheeks just give you, like an extra buffer of air. That's extra padding. One way I help students access this feeling with the Didge is actually to blow a drone and let their cheeks fill up. And then stop and catch the air. Test, making sure this still works. Good. If you can catch air and you can still breathe in and out the nose, that means the back part of your mouth is working. Then from there, some students find it helpful to work on a mouth squeeze, mouth fart, as we call it. preferably with an inhale. Now, I know I was harping on the drone, but sometimes when you're just trying to get the mechanics of circular breathing, it's good to be able to inhale while making any sound. So some people start with inhale, cheek squeeze, mouth fart. They might start that way because maybe they find that it's hard for them to play the drone, lung air, pressurize the mouth, and then reverse the direction of the breath and squeeze. So if they start with an inhale, and then a blow, sometimes that works better. So that would look like sometimes when I'm demonstrating breathing, I move my chest and shoulders up. That's so you can see it. That's not how I want you to breathe. If I do it correctly, it would be I'm mostly breathing with movement down here and some expansion of the ribs. So some people might, benefit from drone, fill the cheeks, catch the air. Catch the air. And then squeeze the air, inhale, and then back to drone. Sometimes that works. Not for everyone. I find for those who struggle for a long time, it has more to do with lack of breathing foundation, which I've covered, and lack of a clear drone, which I've covered. So, questions here. Do you know what you're closing when you breathe in? Do you know what's moving when you go Do you know why that's useful? It seals off the mouth and opens the nasal passage so you can breathe there. What else? And are you aiming for a smooth circular breath? That's higher level versus one with variation. Or some people come to me saying, I can do the straw and water thing, but I can't do it on Dig. The straw and water is okay for teaching some of the mechanics of lung breath, cheek squeeze, inhale, lung breath. But it doesn't get you connecting the lip buzz. That's the hard piece, to be able to squeeze your mouth in some form and keep a drone going. So one other thing to practice. Play the drone. Hear the pitch if you can. Match the pitch with your lips. Mine doesn't sound great. I'm a little dry. And then, with that position, can you work the tongue to close in the back, kind of like a bellows or a turkey baster? Little bit of a plunger action in a syringe to get a little bit of a squeeze and an inhale. One thing I find difficult is off Dig, making the drone, I can't really get my cheeks to expand. I can only really move the inside. This could be considered an advanced skill, but for some, it suddenly is the key that helps things click. So that could be an interesting approach. All right. I think that's it for the circular breathing talk and some of the latest tips. If I were to share one more thing just to wrap things up, this comes from Dubravko. I think it was at the workshop in Croatia where, I believe that's where it was. Maybe it was a video. Don't quite remember. He wanted folks to play the rhythm, let's say Taka Waka or something like that. For our purposes, it will be drone, squeeze, breathe. He wanted people to play the rhythm, and even if they lost the sound, keep the rhythm and the breath pattern going. So let's say you're trying to go with, maybe the goal is, okay, and you know it's exhale through the lungs, that's 1. Inhale through the nose, that's 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. But let's say the sound cuts out. Let's say you lose it entirely. A lot of people will stop, take their mouth off the dish, inhale through the mouth to recover, and then keep going. Which are those are some really bad habits. Mouth stays on the mouthpiece. Does not come off to breathe. You do not inhale through the mouth, ever. And you want to keep the pattern going. So even if you have no drone, lungs, nose, out, in. You want to keep that going. I would rather see that oftentimes than something like that. I want to see you stay on the mouthpiece, keep the breath pattern going. It's kind of like sitting and practicing. I think that's going to set you up really well, because then the motor down here is running on its own. I'm just going to check my other tab and see if any other chat messages are happening and I'm missing them. Nope. Hopefully not. Hopefully if you've chatted with me, I've seen your chat message. If I'm not responding, saying hello or saying your name, it's because they're showing up in some other screen. So I apologize. This live stream thing is interesting. So if you decide I'm going to do the 2-part rhythm with the breath, it's like trying to start a lawnmower where you have to pull the cord and it doesn't work. It's kind of like that. Keep the breath pattern going. Even if the sound is small. Even if there's no sound on the inhale. Keep it going and keep bringing your attention back to If I do nothing else but blow a drone, letting my cheeks expand, while inhaling on the second movement, and mentally I'm thinking ah, ha, and then second sound if I really nail it eventually without trying anything else, it starts to make a sound almost on its own. I'm trying to do it really roughly. I'm trying to simulate how it might sound and feel for a newer player. That's the goal. Okay, now I'm actually going to finish there. I'll allow a couple minutes here for those who are watching. I see some of you are watching. Thank you. I'll allow a couple minutes here for questions. I'm going to jump down here to see if I've missed any comments below. Doesn't look like it. Yeah, last chance to say hi, to share where you're from. Let me know if you have questions. Anything else here before we wrap up? What would you like to see next? I haven't done a video about any rhythms for a long time, so that could be a future thing. It's interesting to watch the numbers change. This is a 47-minute video, so for those of you who are still around, thanks for hanging in there and thanks for watching. There's a bit of a delay too, so giving it a couple more minutes before I sign off. I'll just finish by playing around a little bit. Give you a chance to say hi and bye before I wrap it up. How about that? Oh, what was I playing with before? There was something I liked before I started filming. What was it? Something like that. All right. That's it. I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to comment with any questions on this video, or how else can you reach out? Send a video to dryates@gmail.com if you're interested in lessons. I do have a website, but I think I need to rebuild it, so I'm not going to give you that address right now. Actually, just comment here. I'll find you. Thank you so much. Happy playing, and maybe I'll see you again soon. We'll see. Take care, everyone.